Hi everyone, I'm Serious. As promised, today I will make the top 5 strongest Godzilla in history of the movie. That means there are still many other powerful versions of Godzilla in games and comic books. But this video is only about movies. To make it easy for you to compare, I will talk about the remarkable points about their power. That is the atomic breath, endurance, physical strength, regeneration. Okay, let's get started.
Number 5. Godzilla, Kiryu Saga. Origin. The Kiryu Saga Godzilla is another member of the same species as the original Godzilla that attacked Tokyo in 1954. He first appeared in 1959 when he came ashore in Tateyama during a typhoon. According to Masaki Takazuka and Shogo Tomiyama, it is valid to interpret that this Godzilla is actually the son of the 1954 Godzilla, although this is not necessarily canon. Personality. The Kiryu Saga Godzilla does not display much of a defined personality and is depicted as a destructive force of nature acting primarily on instinct. It is suggested that a primary reason that this Godzilla's rampages is the fact that he is attracted by Kiryu, who contains the remains of another Godzilla. This Godzilla does not appear to become violent or attack unless he is attacked first, after which he will lash out and brutally attack his enemies. Abilities: Atomic Breath. As with past incarnations, the Kiryu Saga Godzilla's trademark ability is his atomic breath. As he charges the beam, Godzilla's dorsal fins flash and glow blue, after which Godzilla launches a superheated blue beam from his mouth. This Godzilla's atomic breath is extremely powerful, capable of leveling entire city blocks or destroying 3 SDF vehicles upon impact. Even Kiryu proved extremely vulnerable to Godzilla's atomic breath, as direct hits were able to knock him out of commission several times. Durability. The Kiryu Saga Godzilla displays a high degree of durability and resistance to injury. All of the 3 SDF's weaponry, including maser cannons, are ineffective against Godzilla and are unable to phase him. Most of Kiryu's weaponry is ineffective against Godzilla as well, and even the powerful Absolute Zero cannon fails to kill Godzilla when fired at point-blank range, although it was fired underwater. Number 4. Legendary Godzilla. Origins. In Godzilla Awakening, the prequel to Legendary Pictures' Godzilla, Godzilla was explained to be an ancient life form from the Permian period, having survived various extinction events by consuming geothermal radiation in a hibernation-like state at the bottom of the sea. Godzilla was theorized by Ishiro Serizawa to have been the alpha predator of his ecosystem and prevented the other species from overpopulating and overrunning the world, acting as a force of nature that maintained balance. Abilities: Atomic Breath. Godzilla spews this atomic energy from his mouth as a blue blast of flame, which is capable of destroying one
Shinomura,
wounding and knocking down the female Muto, and pushing back King Ghidorah. In addition to serving as a weapon, Godzilla's atomic breath can be utilized as a dominance display, while he also uses the bluish glow which emanates from his dorsal fins as an intimidation display. When he fires the beam directly into the female Muto's mouth, it decapitates and kills her almost instantly. After their battle in Boston, Godzilla ultimately incinerates Ghidorah's last head by holding it in his mouth while firing his atomic breath. It appears that once Godzilla has fully charged his atomic breath, he can fire it multiple times. The best example being when he fires the beam twice in rapid succession during his battle with the Mutos after he charges it for the first time. In the 2014 film's official novelization, and in an earlier screenplay, it is mentioned that the Muto's EMP evolved to interfere with Godzilla's atomic breath, meaning it is possible that the atomic breath is not shown at its full strength in the film. The MonsterVerse Godzilla possesses nuclear pulse ability, which he uses in his final confrontation with Muto Prime. Once Muto Prime is stunned by the Orca, Godzilla lifts it onto his back and fires a concentrated shockwave of atomic energy from his shattered dorsal plates. This pulse launches Muto Prime into the air and renders it helpless enough for Godzilla to finish it off by crushing its head. Godzilla utilizes a more powerful version of the attack in his final battle with King Ghidorah in Boston, when it was in Burning Godzilla form. The first nuclear pulse is sufficient to shred both of Ghidorah's wings, and Godzilla follows up with a second that incinerates both Ghidorah's right and left heads. Durability. The MonsterVerse Godzilla displays an impressive degree of durability. He is shown to have survived the detonation of Castle Bravo, a 15 megaton hydrogen bomb, while directly next to the bomb in 1954. He also survived the impact of the meteor, which caused the Permian extinction event. Godzilla's durability is supplemented by radiation he absorbs. In this powered-up state, Godzilla's durability is enhanced, rendering him able to withstand Ghidorah's gravity beams with no visible harm at all, and also to survive the explosion produced when the nuclear energy within his body reaches critical mass. The reason I ranked it fourth is because this Godzilla has an extremely strong durability, can withstand the impact of a meteor, withstand directly 2 bombs. In addition, it also does not die, just barely alive after being hit by the oxygen destroyer. Number 3. Final War Godzilla. Origins. The Final War's Godzilla was awakened by nuclear testing in 1954 and declared war on humanity as revenge. The Earth Defense Force was formed to combat Godzilla and the numerous other kaiju that appeared over the years, but was never able to defeat Godzilla. Finally, the Earth Defense Force lured Godzilla to Antarctica for a final confrontation with the Gotengo, managing to seal Godzilla underneath the ice. Area G was constructed around Godzilla's icy prison, and he remained trapped there until the year 2000-something. Abilities: Atomic Breath. This beam is depicted as being extremely powerful, as it is capable of dispatching or killing most of Godzilla's enemies in a single hit. The only exception is Monster X, who easily resisted the attack. Additionally, Godzilla possesses a variation named the Hyperspiral Heat Ray. Godzilla uses this atomic breath to blast and destroy the Gorath asteroid as it approaches the Earth with pinpoint accuracy. The Final War's Godzilla also possesses the powerful red spiral variant of his atomic breath known as the Burning G Spark Heat Ray. This beam is used after Godzilla has been supercharged with Shinichi Ozaki's Kaiser energy in order to push Kaiser Ghidorah into the edge of space and destroy him. Physical abilities. The Final War's Godzilla possesses immense physical strength and surprisingly quick reflexes, allowing him to easily overpower most of his opponents in physical combat. He also possesses nearly limitless stamina as he travels the globe and battles the other monsters without becoming exhausted. Godzilla's most impressive feat of strength may be when he picks up and throws Kaiser Ghidorah, who weighs a massive 100,000 metric tons, nearly twice as heavy as the Godzilla himself. Durability. Another one of Godzilla's most powerful assets is his resistance to injury. Godzilla remains mostly unfazed by all attacks his opponents use against him, allowing him to easily withstand their assaults and immediately counter and defeat them. The only enemies in Godzilla Final Wars who are shown successful injuring Godzilla are Gigan and Monster X. With all the superior physical, speed, and energy, it is no surprise that Final Wars comes in at number 3 on this list. Number 2, Godzilla Earth Origins. This incarnation of Godzilla is unique in that he originated from plant life rather than animal life. He is said to be one of the end result of natural selection on Earth, and has survived for 20,000 years as the largest and most powerful life form in the planet's history. What? Godzilla evolved as a result of this plant life, incorporating the characteristics of various other organisms through the process of horizontal gene transfer, granting him extreme durability, heat resistance, stealthiness, and regenerative abilities. Godzilla was first discovered in 2030 by Kyohei Yamana when he traveled to Odo Island to investigate the carcass of a Camoas that washed ashore. Abilities: asymmetrically permeable shield. Godzilla Earth can generate a powerful electromagnetic charge through an in vivo amplifier located inside his dorsal plates, with his cells acting as powerful electromagnets. This pulse can be used to disable electronics around Godzilla or to produce an asymmetrically permeable shield, a force field which surrounds Godzilla and shields him from any and all damage, including strikes from multiple nuclear warheads. Atomic breath. Godzilla Earth can fire a highly accelerated charged particle beam called his atomic breath, which is capable of piercing even the thickest armor of other monsters. The beam is incredibly destructive, allowing Godzilla to kill multiple monsters or completely wipe out entire cities like Los Angeles in a single blast. The energy output from Godzilla Earth's atomic breath was later measured as 3 terawatts, 3,000 gigawatts, which was more powerful than previously calculated. Godzilla also possesses a more powerful variant of his atomic breath that is called red spiral particle breath. Godzilla must store up energy for 5 years in order to fire this version of his atomic breath, which he used to destroy the Gorath, an asteroid with a diameter of about 30 kilometers and a mass comparable to the Moon. The spiral beam has been observed to have a range of over 300 kilometers and totally obliterated Gorath upon contact. His other abilities are super oscillatory wave, plasma cutter, metallic tissue, regeneration, stealth, radiation emission, energy conversion. Despite being so strong, I still rank Godzilla Earth in second place because there's still another Godzilla stronger than it. Godzilla Earth is vulnerable to his own atomic breath, demonstrated when Mothra forces him to retreat by reflecting his atomic breath back at him with her scales. Like Godzilla Philius, Godzilla Earth's electromagnetic energy is generated by his dorsal plates, and if they are destroyed, he will be unable to deploy his asymmetrically permeable shield until they regenerate. Number 1. Burning Godzilla, 1995. The final form of Heisei Godzilla. If you have watched my previous videos, you will be surprised why Burning Godzilla 1995 topped this chart. The reason is actually very simple. It is much stronger than what I thought in the past. That is,
I underestimated him.
In the early videos. Origin. The Heisei Godzilla is a member of a species of dinosaur called Godzillosaurus, and that was mutated by exposure to nuclear radiation. In Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, the character Kenichiro Terasawa hypothesized that a Godzillosaurus living on Lagos Island in the Marshall Islands was exposed to the Castle Bravo hydrogen bomb test conducted at nearby Bikini Atoll in 1954 and transformed into Godzilla. A group of time travelers from the year 2204, dubbed the Futurians, used this hypothesis to travel back to Lagos Island in 1944 and move the Godzillosaurus off the island to the Bering Sea, where they presumed it would die far from nuclear testing. However, the Futurians became responsible for creating this Godzilla in the altered timeline as a nuclear submarine crashed in the dinosaur's vicinity sometime prior to 1985, transforming it into the Heisei Godzilla. Abilities: Atomic Breath. The Heisei Godzilla's atomic breath is portrayed as a powerful focused blue laser capable of causing large explosions and severely wounding some monsters such as Rodan and Batara when fired at point-blank range. According to the book Godzilla's 1954-1999 Super Complete Works, the temperature of Godzilla's standard atomic breath in the Heisei series is 500,000 degrees Celsius. Spiral Heat Ray. A stronger variation of Godzilla's standard atomic breath introduced in the Heisei series was the Spiral Heat Ray. This version of Godzilla's atomic breath is typically portrayed as much more powerful than his normal atomic breath and is wrapped in an electrical spiral. The first variant of this attack, simply called the Spiral Heat Ray, is used by Godzilla in Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah to decapitate King Ghidorah's middle head.
In Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2,
Godzilla gained a more powerful spiral heat ray called either the Hyper Uranium Heat Ray. This beam is considerably more powerful than the original spiral breath, with a temperature of 1.2 million degrees Celsius, hot enough to burn Godzilla's mouth. In Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, Godzilla uses runaway cosmic energy he absorbed after the destruction of Space Godzilla's shoulder crystals to fire a version of the spiral heat ray called the Burn Spiral Heat Ray. This beam only reaches a temperature of 900,000 degrees Celsius, but demonstrates even more destructive power than the hyperuranium heat ray. In Godzilla vs. Destoroyah, once Burning Godzilla begins to enter meltdown, he begins using the Infinite Heat Ray. This beam is said to increase infinitely in power each time Burning Godzilla uses it, and is capable of blasting off part of the frill on Destoroyah's head, and severely wounding his shoulder while setting the entire surrounding area ablaze, forcing Destoroyah to try and retreat. This atomic breath is considered to be Godzilla's strongest breath ever. The most dangerous weapon is when Godzilla finished the process of melting. His nuclear heart threatened to explode and destroy the planet with it. Durability. Like previous incarnations, the Heisei Godzilla is extremely durable and resilient to all forms of conventional human weaponry. Godzilla's durability and regeneration are also a much larger plot point in the Heisei series. This incarnation of the character possesses an enhanced healing factor as well, in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, after Fire Rodan
imparted
his energy into Godzilla, Godzilla was able to rapidly reform his second brain, which had previously been destroyed by Super Mechagodzilla. In Godzilla vs. Destroya, Burning Godzilla had absorbed enough radiation from the Birth Island explosion that his power and regeneration were seemingly enhanced, shown when Destroya's energy horn attack left only external injuries despite slicing straight through his body. Godzilla also shows a resistance to extreme temperatures, spending long periods of time completely submerged in molten magma. In The Return of the Godzilla, Godzilla was trapped in the molten center of Mount Mihara, where he remained completely submerged for 5 years before emerging completely unharmed in Godzilla vs. Biollante. In Godzilla vs. Mothra, Godzilla fell into a volcanic
fault
and managed to swim through the miles of molten 1500 degrees Celsius magma before emerging from the crater of Mount Fuji. He also survived being frozen solid in Godzilla vs. Destroya. Physical abilities. When forced to battle an opponent up close, Godzilla still displayed vicious strength, shown when he lifted King Ghidorah by his tails and slammed him onto the ground repeatedly. Godzilla was also able to almost effortlessly lift Mechagodzilla by its head and throw it, despite Mechagodzilla's weight is 150,000 tons. It is true that Burning Godzilla 1995 has many advantages compared to other Godzilla versions in terms of energy, firepower, endurance, healing factor, physical strength. It can even destroy the Earth if it melts, so I think it deserves first place in this ranking. Many of you still wonder why Shin Godzilla is not in this ranking. The answer is that if Shin Godzilla has to fight each opponent, it is very difficult to win. Firstly, when comparing abilities, you can only use Shin in the 4th form because its next form is unknown. Secondly, Shin's close combat ability is very weak. The third is Shin's durability is not enough to other Godzillas. Shin is also extremely weak when he runs out of energy. Shin's firepower was probably not strong enough to penetrate the armor of the other Godzilla versions in this top. That was why Shin was not ranked in the top. You may also wonder why this ranking is different from the previous rankings. Then I also answered that the previous rankings were not correct. This ranking has been recognized by many veteran members of Godzilla, so you can be assured for this time.
Please comment what you want me to do in the next videos. Now goodbye and see you again.